for the record, so that we can dive right in, as it were. This is the Season 3 Epilogue. To be frank, I'd have to change my name. And we open with Dizzy standing right over Clyde's shoulder, having said what she said, catching everyone's attention as the gentleman in the middle, who's brandishing a very rusty and clearly improperly used scraggly tooth katana, brings it down atop his friend and associates while making eye contact with Dizzy. Without beating the horse all too much, Clyde, this makes the second shower of your evening. Of course, this one contains pulpy gray matter and blood, most unclean. It makes you dirty. It's kind of like bathing in Big Mac and Whopper sauce. The other two, Katana, Snaggly Tooth Katana, and improvised railroad tied bat as a form of a mace, are a little transfixed. They're not exactly sure how they should respond. Their head tells them one thing, their heart tells them another, and the need for blood tells them something completely and totally out of left field. Meaning that, well, technically there's blood right there. They don't really have to rob you guys now. Clyde, Dizzy, like deer in headlight, although deer with vampire teeth and headlights, what are your actions, considering you've just watched another living being, come to a complete and total end in front of you?
Well, that's what the purpose of this talk was, but where's Dizzy? Is she still back?
Dizzy's over your right shoulder.
In the alley?
Dizzy's over your right shoulder. You have two very, without being too politically incorrect, two cracked out thin bloods who will in a few moments snap back to themselves, because as enrapturing as her voice, tone, and style of dress is, the need for blood has risen, and they have a fresh supply, so it will snap them out of whatever daze the combined effect of both your ability and hers has put them into.
I'm gonna tell Lucy grab the one on the left, and then I'm gonna jump for the one on the right.
All right, go ahead, roll your strength and melee.
Brawl?
Yes, brawl. I said melee. I'm sorry, my mind isn't completely where it should be just yet. We're getting there.
Oh. Okay. Those successes.
Alrighty. Well, even without proper training, and by proper training I mean boxing, wrestling, several of any version of martial arts, there is a simple understanding. Your fist, your elbow, your weight goes into the other person and continues moving forward until it either meets concrete or there's nothing left of that person. You leap on the person on the right, the gentleman holding the katana, who still is a little transfixed by Dizzy. What are you doing?
Well, the one that's remaining up, I will switch to my entrancement. And I'll tell him, there you go. You made the choice, just like I asked. Let's finish it, and then you can take your friends and get the fuck out of here.
Alrighty, well, that being the case, I don't have the system for transfix up or transmit. Give me a quick second here, and we will make that happen. Sliding right on down here. Cheat sheets and all. That means they get a composure and wits. Let's see what happens. Go ahead and roll your charisma plus presence, and they'll roll their comp and wits, and we'll see what the dice god says. He is strangely, despite all of the cravenly, cowardly, and sheer animalistic need, decidedly more possessed of mental fortitude than expected. He's, while transfixed initially by the sheer weight of your aura, your awe, he manages to push back against the edict. Of course, his push amounts to what it might be a schoolyard scuffle, and you bowl over him, but not without a cost. The beast whispers in your ear, and you hear that there is blood available. And while not strictly blood, and while not strictly vitae, a happy medium is still a happy medium.
I will just kind of ignore that voice for right now. It's not a pressing need, so...
No, not pressing, but definitely sticking around to make itself known. As your exact order was for him to get his friends and leave the area. Was this the suggestion you were making for him?
Originally I told him to pick which one of them was going to die, and then I said he's made his choice to go ahead and finish it, and then get your friend and get out of here.
He will most assuredly do what he can to try to please you. But the sheer savagery that Clyde brings to bear is a thing to be cherished. There's something warm and, although a little scary, about having a gentleman who, for the most part, seemed very protective, lose his absolute shit. There's no skillful dance of combat. There's no jump, flying, leap kick. There's no armbar or wrist lock. There's no roundhouse kicks or crushingly quick uppercut or jab. No, Clyde sets upon this man as if he is an ape defending his troop. Fists rain down as if he's a force of nature. The thin blood at his feet, underneath his girth, has no chance, because while distracted and awed by your presence, he was completely and totally unable to defend himself, even though he did possess the very nice and snazzy katana that has seen many better days. Clyde, the question now becomes is, how much of your darker self do you allow to give vent? Do you try to restrain yourself from beating him until he can no longer move? Or do you stop once he's dropped the katana?
I'm biting most of that.
All right. Well, sir, you will need to give me your resolve and composure and add a 2 hunger, Dizzy. So, 2 do you.
Whoa! How do you be still failure that?
While the ballet of violence that Clyde was putting on was interesting and intriguing, the moment that gray matter begins to splatter, the moment that life begins to ebb away, Dizzy, you take a half a step back, because while his fangs are sunk in, the barrage of violence continues. This is a savaging. This is the sheer, unbridled, animalistic side of what lies in the heart of every kindred come to bear. You've seen worse things when it comes to feeding, but it would take you sitting down with a notepad and carefully looking through each one of your memories to find something as bad as watching this happen.
Yeah, I just, like you said, I take a step back, kind of avert my eyes, let it play out.
Is the other gentleman who's transfixed by you, is he as competent and willing to not engage? A quick second here. Two successes. That is unfortunately not enough. Clyde, with the added intrusion, your beast gets a chance to retreat. You can either spend your willpower to force yourself to stop, otherwise you know for a fact you will continue draining him dry, or you can risk it on a unused willpower roll.
Do I have any idea who these guys are?
Yeah, food.
Yeah, I mean, but they apparently know the place, so have I an inkling of who they might be?
Not specifically, you know the profession, even if you don't know the particular uniform. They are drugged out addicts, and their drug of choice is blood.
Oh, well, then in that case, I guess I'd have the munchies.
Well, that's definitely one way to deal with the problem. Let's take a quick gander here and see. I need one quick question on a bit of a system here. I know that it does exist, just haven't had to use it in quite some time. So, all right. So, as you find their inability to continue living of any import whatsoever, go ahead and roll your strength and resolve for me, please.
Okay.
Hey, while all this is going on, what has happened to Aiden?
He, while of a particular, while a
Two in a row. Wow.
while he is of a particularly survivalist in nature, he, watching the carnage, is barely able to contain himself. He has his arms shoved deeply into his pocket and is attempting to avert his gaze, even though he's drawn back to the very chilling, slurping, and sucking, as there's not just one voice at work, one mouth at work, but two. The gentleman who you instructed suggested to take his friend and leave, was not quite up to snuff, and his need of blood overwhelmed him. He and Clyde are the vampiric version of Lady and the Tramp, draining his associate completely and totally. You see the skin go gray. You see the hair become spiderweb-like as the true age of this particular individual hits them all in a matter of seconds, as the last drop from the veins dribbles across Clyde's tongue, and his friend, who they had gotten up to all manner of mischief together, looks a bit sad that there is nothing left. It's like the child who has lost their last chicken nugget or dropped their ice cream scoop. "You didn't have to drink it all," he says, tears in his voice, his mouth stained red.
You still got the other friend on the floor there if you're hungry.
You see Aiden take a step back outside of your periphery even further when you say that, because you're sure his gaze latches on to the spilled vitae all over the ground as well. His associate doesn't bother with even attempting to maintain any semblance of pride. He dives into the puddle of viscous, spilled blood, picking bits of brain out of his mouth as he laps up the blood off the concrete. Clyde, you now understand a portion of what Newberry was attempting to warn you against. In the heart of every kindred is a beast that only needs a crack. Either the most positive of emotions or the most negative of emotions, and the beast will escape. You have never been as animalistic in front of a witness before, and there's a portion of you that really doesn't care, because in the end, you have never been as sated as you are now. Your hunger is effectively zero.
Okay.
There is, however, another opportunity lying before you. Knees and elbows against the concrete, his head bent into the puddle that was once his other associate, as he laps and slurps and sucks at every drop that was spilled across the ground. There's something very depressing knowing that under the right situation, under the right circumstances, that very well could be either of you.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm kind of still dealing with some work thing, so if we can go to a different scene and then come back in like 15 minutes.
Yes, we were getting ready to shift towards Hestia, but I'm not sure if her microphone is available currently. So,
all right. Just to recap real quick, I trained this poor fellow, and do I get the not as B5? Sorry, D20, right? Engorged.
You are engorged. Yes, your hunger is at 0. However, the battle of wills and all of that normally takes place upon the death of a kindred does not. There's nothing there. What little bit of soul he may have had slipped past you with nothing more than a sneeze on the wind. Dizzy, could you go ahead and roll your composure? You literally watched as Clyde, who you just were introduced to, drain completely dry an enemy. Gas was a occasionally silent, watchful, protective sort of person, and you knew that he held within him a core of sheer anger that seemed limitless, but not even he had fallen to such displays in front of you.
Just straight composure?
Yes, sir.
Blood dice?
No, just composure. It is one of the worst things you've witnessed up close and personal, but some core of restraint remains within you and you don't lose your shit, though your stomach does threaten to empty itself of the beers you downed this evening so far. You can tell Aiden's in a bad way and the need is definitely riding him, but somehow he has maintained his ability to not descend to that deplorable state.
All right, well, she'll hold her breath for a minute and she'll be like, it was Clyde, right? Are you good?
I probably kind of still in an animalistic state, like sniffing and kind of licking my hands and try to slurp whatever blood dribble I have in my around my mouth.
All right, well, clearly, Clyde, you are still post-coital. So, Aiden, let's walk over here for a minute.
I know I didn't mention about the big guy, but like I said, I thought I could get away from him without hiding out with you guys. And his gaze keeps drifting back to the third of your would-be robber who is prostrate in front of you, lapping at the blood on the ground as if it is the most delicious of things in the entirety of the world, and that it is not, in fact, on the ground, but having been presented on a golden platter with the finest of cutlery. With no inherent shame in his actions, he is lapping it up. And Clyde slurping his fingers and cleaning himself almost as if he's a humanistic cat.
Dizzy will lean down and with, a finger, she'll lift Aiden's chin up to meet her gaze. And she's like, no, that was pretty bad, but I'm not mad at you. Should I be mad at you?
No, actually, I was gonna ask, you guys just, do you have, blood bags in your, haven, in your building? This is kind of bad. Oh, God.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't know. Clyde might know, but I don't know if I'd ask him just yet.
No, I'm good here. And with the I'm good here, actually, you do realize that they've taken far too long to get inside. And you open the doors out into the moored tunnel, and the most disgusting wet macaroni sound echoes off of the walls up the tunnel from you. A lapping and slurping and just a very wet consumption sound.
At first it would give me a really slight bit of pause because what the heck is that sound and why is it inside? But then I'm gonna run because something's obviously gone terribly wrong that's a sound that I'm hearing where there should be nobody, or there should only be voices.
And as you take a step up the tunnel, the smacking sensation of running into a wall hits your nose. Blood and iron and the taste of copper coats your tongue instantaneously. Almost as if someone used a Febreze arterial scent on the area.
There's probably a soft choke. because it shouldn't, like I said, there should not be that much blood in the air. I'm really worried that something's gone on, so I'm gonna put like every ounce of speed my little legs can go. I'm going.
Hesh is particularly dexterous, partially due to the number of rituals she's used and the fact that she is very much undead. So the need for rest and not pushing yourself to the limits is nothing that really concerns her so much. What does is, as she rounds the closest curve of the tunnel up, there on the ground is the skankiest, skeeviest version of an urban redneck you have ever seen. Near to his hand is an improvised mace made of a baseball bat and railroad ties. There are two deceased bodies similarly dressed and stylized not too far, one of which he's hovering over and lapping at the blood on the ground before him. Clyde stands roughly about 4 to 5 feet to his right, cleaning his fingers, and his chin is still covered in the remains of another once living individual. Aiden and Dizzy are roughly 10, almost 15 feet further back, just outside of immediate pungent range of the waste and mess on the ground before them. It is clear that Aiden is in a bad way. If he was as you're sure that he may have entered into frenzy once or twice and still be in the midst of maybe the second or third. But he's holding himself, hands in pockets, and Clyde is happily cleaning himself while the urban hillbilly drinks and laps every drop he can get, finally giving up hope of lapping it all up and tired of picking brain matter out of his teeth. He buries his mouth in the open crevice that was once his friend's head and begins sucking.
Jaw is literally dropped for a minute there, because as much of an intelligent person as she is, there are no words. What the heck is going on? Absolute fuck is going on around here? Like, what? Of course it's bodies. Of course it's more bodies that I'm gonna have to hide. Great. Yep, you know what? This is what I freaking needed for my night. Hi, Dizzy. Hey, Aiden. Clyde, what the absolute fuck are you doing? Stop!
Aiden just silently pulls a hand out of his pocket and points to Clyde. He happened.
Now, to be fair, Clyde only killed the one.
Probably shouldn't have been any killing at all, but since we're here. I'm gonna walk in front of Clyde and snap my fingers in front of his face.
Oh no. Oh no. There is, while he's home, the lights are on, but it's clear that he's in the back room and can't quite answer the door. It's the best way to phrase it. He is living through the last shadow moments of extreme pleasure as you close on him.
Hey, maybe don't, yeah, there's a reason we're way back here.
Yeah, but neither of you have a blade.
I mean, fair.
Aiden tosses his box cutter at your feet for you to use if need be.
I pull out my much bigger switchblade. I look very pointedly at Clyde and try my best to reach him with words first. Clyde, I know you're in there somewhere. Please don't make me cut you open tonight. Come back. We're here. We need you here. And I wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Probably you can see him. He's probably speaking in a language that he doesn't know he can speak. But at least it's better. You are used to him like muttering constantly to himself, and kind of put his hands on the ground, kind of like grounding himself, and then eventually you can see his eyes kind of start like focusing a little bit more.
Good, we're making progress. That's what I wanted. Now that that's going on, I turn around to the other. Who the fuck is that?
A bloodjacker? Hayden offers.
Buddy, I hate to tell you this. You picked the wrong fucking rank to get on my bad side and break into the fucking haven. I don't know what you came here for, but obviously it didn't go well for you. So you got 5 seconds to get the fuck out, or I'm gonna let them have the rest of you. I really don't care anymore.
Oh my god, that's what I said.
He hisses. Literally as animalistic as possible and goes back to slurping from the body. In fact, pulling the body closer to him. His eyes, the pupils of his eyes have expanded until they are almost completely black. His irises are completely open. He is at the back of beyond in regards to being prescient as to what's actually happening. The only thing that matters is the blood that he is consuming and downing by the mouthfuls.
3, 2, 1. The switchblade that I had in my hand is quickly replaced by the spellblade, and it goes into the base of the skull. I have had a fucking enough. If he doesn't want to leave, he is a threat to our lives, and I don't want anybody else to know the way into this place. One body is good as any other body to have to hide or get rid of anyway, so might as well just be done with it.
Go ahead and give me a dexterity melee. All you need is 1 success.
Me?
Pass you. There's killing, and then there's what you do. It is causing another living thing's death is murder. Killing an animal we consider butchery. This is some indescribable middle portion between those two extremes, because in this moment, that person, that being, that bipedal entity is 100% animal. That bipedal entity is barely quantifiable as anything more than need given flesh. And as you drive the silvered, acid-etched blade through his skull, you hear what normally would be a satisfying thunk as the hilt comes to stop at the top of his skull cap. Instead, there's a resignation and a coolness that falls over you. It's almost as if you put on someone else's clothes. You've stepped into someone else's shoes. In that moment, you've temporarily become someone else. There is a cost, a price for continued existence. And this is one small price, even though it's a relatively large demerit against what you've held as good and right and honorable and humanistic. The truth that you sadly admit to yourself is that it was necessary. Necessity demanded. There, of course, were always and will always be other options, but in achieving your goals or anyone else's goals, sometimes the most expedient, though detrimental to your soul, is what's required. And as the body slumps because you've severed somehow in your stab and burying of your knife, you severed spinal column, you stirred gray matter, there's nothing conscious left in that body. And it slumps over, its face burrowing further into the mess that was the remains of his friends. There are 3 barely human, barely kindred bodies in the tunnel leading down into the Haven's rear secret entrance via the sub-basement morgue. What are you 3 going to do?
Well, before it cools, obviously I'm going to take this one because I killed it. I'm going to drag it back to the morgue. I'm going to drain it into as many cups or containers as I can, and I'm going to slide one to Aiden because I can tell he needs it. The rest I'll put away for emergencies, and then I start the process of the incinerator.
Okay, that takes care of one body. There's still 2 others. What do you guys do with those? Or if you choose not to do anything, they can lay there and molder if you like.
I kind of like waking the next day with a moral hangover. Like, oh fuck! I mean, I know I'm usually out of it. That was something else. I'm gonna try to grab one of them and hoist her over my shoulder.
Well, strangely enough, it's decidedly lighter. Body of this size should be roughly about 140, 150 pounds. This one feels somewhere in the neighborhood of about 125 pounds. Almost as if the insides were not quite as heavy as they should be. But being divested of blood may do that. That's 2 bodies down. There is a third that you guys need to figure out who or what is going to handle it. But as you guys are elbow deep, Aiden slurping at the cup given him, because this, believe it or not, despite the packaging, is actually relatively good blood. It is that perfect balance between a nice beer and a fine cognac, if that's your cup of tea. But it's a balance between the 2. It's not quite 40 proof, but it is definitely higher than the 4.5 that a normal beer is. And he's relishing it. Elbows deep, covered in your smock that you've mentally set aside as your body destroying smock, breaking the bodies down, and all of that has its own natural splatter and spray factor, even as divested, as sanguinated as the bodies are by the time you actually get to this portion. But only to say, without meaning to, you guys have already exhausted quite a good portion of the evening. You know you've done so, Hestia, because standing in the doorway between the morgue and the rest of the floors leading up to the rest of the Haven is Lucio. Lucio, the drive was relatively uneventful as far as things go. Arsenio surprisingly has some skill when it comes to driving. However, his immediate goal was getting you here, and here you stand, because having not received any answer or call from the shelter, from the Haven, you find yourself standing in the morgue doorway, when she realized that no one was upstairs in the meeting room or in the suites. And as she is elbow deep in breaking down what looks like a homeless person's body. There's another on a slab not far away, and Clyde looks as if he's tried finger painting with his face.
What the fuck happened?
Holy shit, dude, am I gonna have to fight you two?
There's a small platinum blonde woman not too far away. She's associating, well, clearly close enough with another gentleman who's drinking down a mug of nice, hot, steaming, bloody vitae. He looks up. How'd you get down here, dude?
This is one of my havens. I've been with this coterie for a couple months now. Who the hell are you two?
I interject. Dizzy, Aiden, that's Lucio. Lucio, that's Dizzy and Aiden. They were rescued the other day? I'm losing days, sorry. They rescued the night from that asylum place that we were supposed to go to, but originally they were kidnapped in Dalton at that party we went to. Remember that? Yeah.
The one with the lupine?
Yep. All that shit happened.
Wait, there's a werewolf there too? Fuck.
I'm kind of glad I don't remember any of this shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, apparently somebody in the Malkavian clan is kidnapping other kindred and bringing them to the asylum so they can be cured, quote unquote, and trafficked. I'm pretty sure trafficked. We don't know who yet, but I have a very strong suspicion as to who it might just be. And I give Clyde a side eye.
Wait, he's the reason why we got kidnapped?
$5 says it's... What's his name again?
I know that some of the Malkavian have their own absurd ways of looking at the world, but until we have something more concrete, just like try to keep the suspicion to a minimum if you can. I mean, so you are only paranoid if somebody's out to get you, right?
No.
Hey, you need to be more woke, dude.
$5 says it's Newberry. Not that I have any evidence, but I just really hate the guy.
Wait, you're Newberry?
No, he's not Newberry, but he's very close with Newberry.
Wait, so you're friends with the guy that kidnapped me and Dizzy? And countless others?
I was kidnapped by a guy whose name is Newberry?
Oh my god, I was right, wasn't I? I just took a wild guess.
Well, okay, hold on. Before we get too far into this, I say as I continue to dismember this body, like it's nothing because I can do multiple things at one time. The thing is, my point in this is, how is something this large happening under the Primogen's nose if he has no part in it? That's all I'm going to say about that.
I have no idea, but back to my original question, what the fuck actually happened here? Because I just got a call from a friend of mine saying my sister and my friend were arrested at the shelter, and then I come here as fast as I can, and I find you all over... How many bodies is this now? 1, 2...
Wait. You're who?
There's a third one in the hall.
Oh, 3 bodies! Lovely!
Wait, no, come one more time. You said your who was arrested?
My sister and my friend.
How was I supposed to know she was your sister? 1 and 2, yes, somebody was arrested tonight, and I was gonna send bail money to get them out, but yeah, the thing with Simone went bad. We were supposed to do a thing, and I didn't get all the information about that specific thing we were supposed to do because Simone didn't tell me what it is exactly we're supposed to do. Apparently, he didn't know either, but the person that came here that one time, Norris, the guy that looked like the priest, you remember him, he showed up and said that time is up. So because of time being up, they arrested somebody here to let the police know that I guess it's back open season on us until we can handle whatever it is we need to handle to get them off of our back. We were supposed to kill the person that's kidnapping all the freaking kindred. We didn't do that the night we went to the asylum. We rescued these two and killed some other things instead. Well, I didn't kill anything.
Sausage demons.
Oh yeah, those are gross. That's horrible.
So, questions for later. Okay, so let me see if I get this right. The issue that has plagued us since the beginning, lack of communication, has come to bite us in the ass. And because of that, the lords of this city have decided it's open season on us until we do what they want.
Pretty much, and you know what? It gets worse.
Oh, you have no idea. I have some stuff to share with you, but you go first. I'm curious.
Okay. So, on top of all of this, again, I'm moving to the next body that needs to be dismembered. On top of all of that we have to unpack, mind you, there is also the fact that we had a meeting tonight with a Nosferatu because Mike, who is a part of the shelter, got hurt when the night Simone got staked, which I don't think you were here for.
Okay, wait, well, Simone got staked?
Yes, because the werewolf body that came into the shelter brought a death spirit into... Well, actually, it woke a death spirit. It's probably already here, but it woke a death spirit that was in the haven, and we had to make a deal with it so that it would leave Simone's body, which it went into after Simone brought a near-dead girl into the haven so that we could quote-unquote save her, but it allowed the death demon to take her body and fuck everybody in the office up so that we had to send them to the hospital. And because Mike got hurt, the person he was ghouled to was a Nosferatu, and that Nosferatu came here tonight angry that we had let him get hurt. Unbeknownst to me, the nearly dead girl that Simone brought here is not nearly dead anymore. She's undead now. He has sired a vampire. Kindred. He has sired a kindred, and then he wouldn't let us kill her.
Dude, I want to just play soap opera music right now.
Or let the Nosferatu kill her, because the Nosferatu wanted to kill her, but he wouldn't let me give the Nosferatu the address, which has made us yet another enemy. So yeah, there's that, and there's that, and yeah, the whole Norris thing, we're at a time thing, and then on top of all that, guess what? I come down here to the basement, and we've got intruders, which Clyde is partially eating, along with the other intruder.
Hey, they
lost his mind, which I did.
They just were just here, like, building swords and bats and stuff, but I asked them to leave. They just wouldn't budge.
Oh, that's the least.
Yeah, he yelled it pretty loud.
And I lost my phone, and that is fucking tragic.
Okay.
As far as the Nosferatu go, as I understand them, if you make yourself useful, at least they will let you. They will let you walk away.
Okay.
Very transactional, those fellows.
Oh my.
But I also understand that you're stating that the people that really want the haven from us are also helping the police.
Oh, my
We have a
understanding
problem
is
there.
that we are waiting for the police activity to die down so they can come in and take over this place. Which, by the way, allow me to enlighten you on a few things. So, first off, people in charge of the C&T, the, what the hell were they called? The Putinesca? Yeah, they want this place bad, and from what I've been able to gather, they don't just operate in Chicago, they are quite extensive outside the city. You have an enforcer in the city, Hugo, who tried to kill me a couple months ago. And he's apparently been making trips out of the city. I still don't know why. I was just about to investigate that, and then I got the call. But on to more pressing matters. We are fucked pretty soon because the Putinesco want this place. And they are pressuring Ignacio into getting this place, or raiding this place as soon as possible. He's trying to push back a bit because of the agreed upon meeting. So we are probably going to have to meet him sooner than expected. Second point of order. Don Castiglione, the person who is supposed to be in charge of the family, who has been supposedly locked up for 10 years. My, inside man has told me he's back in town somehow, despite supposedly being in, where was it again? Colorado? That he's supposed to be locked up in? Yeah, somehow he's here, and he said that he doesn't look any different from 10 years ago. Which is a big red flag to me. Oh yeah, another thing,
How did it turn?
might have been, might also be Gould, or maybe he's some other unknown horror of the universe that we have yet to learn about, because apparently werewolves exist and now so do death spirits.
Aiden raises his hand. Do we have any chips?
Two dollars. I'll just take notes.
Alright, so, continuing. The other night, Myers' associate, Martin, came to take me to meet with the Blood Czar of the city. I am currently trying to help her with something to establish a positive relationship, so that way we don't have everyone in power in this city trying to kill us. But in this little escapade, Martin told me a little something about Myers, your friend, Hestia. He may possibly, sort of, definitely be associated with the Sabbat.
Wait, is Sabbat still around?
As in, like, working for them.
It's rare that we see shock on Hesty's face, and there is very much a visage of disbelief and shock. Her whole face changes and shuts down, and she's looking at him like, "You're lying to me. There's no way. He wouldn't do that to me."
Look, Myers told me some crazy things about him. about how he's been using people. If you want, I can do my best to get Martin to talk to you about this, because he's the one with the facts. But yeah, apparently he also knew my grandsire as someone who was supposedly respected a couple decades back. Apparently he wasn't aware that they were part of the Sabbat. And speaking of which, I actually saw my grandsire earlier tonight, I should say. So there's a house out in Chatham where apparently the government is supposed to own the building. And she was there with someone who's a big part of the Department of Homeland Security. I don't know what that's all about, but that was scary, seeing her, the person who, killed me.
Okay, so let's try to make a list, right? Who's more likely to try to kill us first?
You mean besides you?
I mean, so we can try to tackle one thing at a time, because definitely we need to come up with some sort of plan.
Well, from what I'm hearing, the most pressing matter is this deal that Simone made that's gone south. Because that seems to be the deal that is actively hurting us right now. Everything else, the bill's going to come due probably tomorrow, probably a couple days or weeks from now, but right at this very moment, Simone's deal seems to be the main issue.
Ian stands up and walks over to Hestia, waving his hand in front of her face.
I mean, the bully boys...
She's somewhere else. Her hands are shaking, and she's backed herself into one of the doors to the drawers that normally hold bodies, and her eyes are glazed with just the slightest hint of tears, because she has hit that wall of a tipping point of everything she knows just crumbling at her feet, and it's enough. She's pretty much checked out for the moment. She's gone.
Yeah, well...
Hey, why are you upset that he, is Jewish or something? Relax. Being Jewish, I thought we were past this whole Jewish racism.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Dizzy will turn to Hestia and open her arms and kind of do the come hither with her hands and say, "Oh, come here, boo. I understand. I'm feeling the same way. Come on, come in. Bring it in."
Nobody has, in a long time, ever seen her sob the way she's sobbing. Her heart is breaking for what it is, and she falls into Dizzy's arms and just loses it.
Dizzy attempts to be comforting, even though it's probably not going to help, so...
Hayden backs away as if he's, looking at something he shouldn't. But there's not much for him to do or offer. He is completely out of his depth. He looks between Lucio and Clyde and takes a half a step closer to Lucio. And Lorraine
audio's cutting out. Can't hear.
Oh, sorry about that. And Simone, Lorraine asks you, as long as you have enough places to hide the body, then what's the problem? Unless, of course, you need help ending the bodies, then, well, a favor for a favor, of course.
Would Modius be particularly upset if I begin murdering?
I'm not sure. He makes up his own mind. Of course, he tends to stay away from the wet stuff.
If he doesn't mind me murdering a few people, then chances are you, by +1, will probably be the only ones who's going to leave the building alive tonight.
She pauses and looks at you. What do you mean +1?
Tall guy, large chair, you know.
Oh.
I keep doing it.
She looks back toward the window. Huh. Okay.
No, not that type of +1. He was with me when I came here because I didn't get a chance to go out him all. He's actually just someone here. Have you seen him?
Well, Emodius walks into the room, moving back to the wing-backed chair he was sitting in initially. He turns it so that it faces you, even though you've gotten up and moved from the window and are standing halfway between the kente cloth tapestry and heading back down the hall towards the front door. He doesn't seem very intent on barring your path. So, Simone, I've unfortunately, while taking care of that other matter, left you alone far too long, and I do apologize. Having checked our security to make sure that we are in fact alone, will you sit so that we can have a conversation, or have you decided to not take me up on my offer?
Let's have a conversation. What words can I hear?
Well, as I stated, I'm not one for much duplicity. It has never properly served me previously, so I believe in the straight, direct discourse as often as possible. In this situation, you are in amongst an untenable situation. Having survived many of such situations, I can assure you that I will assist you in surviving this one. Of course, there is always a price and a cost. Normally, when one asks after the price of a thing, one can't afford it. You chose your words fairly well and asked for the cost. And again, the aphorism holds true. If you need to verify the price of a thing, you very well may not afford it. We can, of course, burn that bridge once we cross it. But for now, I believe the best recourse you have is myself and my services. I'm sorry. My voice did not carry loud enough. I think the offer is clear. My assistance in helping you with this particular situation for your services. So a trade, if you will. Hundreds of different plans that are dependent upon one action or another. You wouldn't believe how long it took to cross-reference back, date, track social media posts, nights booked with sitters, and several other paths of investigation to narrow down your activities. So even this much has come at a great investment of my own time and effort.
Okay, I ask again. Do you want this?
Hundreds of plans are in play. Depending on what actions take place, determines which actions are needed to counteract or to instigate them. If you are willing to work for a thing, I'm sure we can have a very enjoyable relationship.
I see. Okay. You have an idea?
Excellent. Well, he stands up and moves to Lorraine, whispering something in her ear. She smiles and stands, gives him a hug, and then moves down the hall. He in turn moves back to his wingback chair and sits. Simone, I'm so glad that you decided, well, at least voiced that you will work with us. Now that we have an agreement that we are on the same team moving forward, let me ask you, why did you come back?
Come back?
Yes, we just missed you when you had left previously. Sanithia informed us as such. And you came back with the other one.
Well, I was wanting to give the an opportunity. Think that, you know what? Never mind. She'll figure it out. She's smart enough.
Well, with the right tutelage, she in fact is very, very intelligent. It is a shame that she has a full life here. Friends, associates, a job that requires most of her time, hence the reason why for her to spend as many evenings with you as she has available when she has them available. Unfortunately, Edward and Sandra could not be saved.
That's a shame.
It is. I do like his decor. His choice of tapestries and his sword room upstairs is very well appointed.
Really? I may have to pay a visit to that room. Didn't really have much time to be up there when I visited normally.
Of course not. Now, Simone, as I stated, I'm not very good at applying duplicity and plotting around others. I find that my most ardent talent is in straightforward logic. So I ask, once more, why did you come back?
I wanted to have a private conversation with Sanithia. I no longer care to have that conversation.
It's a shame. She's quite the cunning linguist.
Yes, she is.
Simone,
But
I want to thank you for returning. It definitely made it easier in contacting you so that we can move forward. He pulls back out the leather journal that he had been writing in when you and Alexander first arrived. He quickly jots down in a strangely immaculate calligraphy a long form address in script, and then tears the page out and hands it to you. I expect to see you here every few days, and then we can arrange a more reliable way to contact each other. You have an enjoyable evening, Simone. And he stands, straightens his cuffs, places the journal back into the blazer pocket over the back of the chair, slips the blazer on, and then moves down the hall away from you.
I'm going to keep an eye on him until they're gone. Then I commit the actual address to memory. And then I actually put the note in my pocket. And then I go looking. Once they're completely gone, I go looking to get them out of there.
As you sit, approximately how long do you give them to completely be gone? A minute, 2, 5, 10?
3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So you sat, you've gathered your thoughts, you've made your plans as to what the next steps are. And as you're sitting there, the quiet of the house is definitely helpful in regards to aligning your thoughts and putting things in order. It's only once you mentally ticked off roughly about 4 minutes, and then you look and realize that you have another minute to go, that the quiet of the house actually settles in. That background noise of a shower running ended when he got back, right just before he got back from speaking in the next room with Zenithia. The slap tickle sound that you heard from elsewhere in the house had ended before Lorraine started speaking. And it's been 5 minutes. You're sure that he's at least left the building. What's your next action?
Go get Alex, get him out of here, and then we go back to the pavement.
So you head down the hall looking for the restroom. You know approximately where it is, but you've never had to use it, so you don't know exactly. And you open the door. The bed is rumpled, blanket and sheetless, but this was the room where the girls had engaged in blade play, so that was to be expected. You know, they changed the blankets, changed the sheets to get rid of the blood stains, because, you know, if you let blood set, you're pretty much done. It is what it is. But then you finally find the restroom. You're finally in the restroom, and there's the remnants of a wet shower. There's a few droplets of blood across the bottom of the bath and across the floor of the shower. But outside of the moisture in the air sticking to the glass, there's nothing in the restroom.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to search quickly searching room by room, trying to figure out where he is. He has to be in this house somewhere.
The scent of old sex sticks to the rooms like perfume, like someone lit a sex-scented incense in each of the rooms or used a censer moving from one room to the next. There's an ambient heat from the electronics that were in the room, cameras and that sort of thing. You've worked in those rooms before. You know what it feels like, the very cloying miasma from the heat of the bodies in motion and the heat of the electronics. But you don't see any of the heavier duty cameras. The scent of sex is still in the air. The scent of what took place is very much there. A thin hint of sex, a very heavy hint of blood, the heat from that people generate, not kindred, but people. But save the sound of your foot on the tiles and the stairs and the marble of the second floor, there aren't any other sounds in the apartment. There are not any other sounds in the condominium that was shared by Edward and Sandra, and periodically you, Synethia, and Mark, the guy from South Shore that brought over the stable of young ladies who partook in the swinging scene, the people that were part of your text chain when reaching out for partners to obtain the blood you so desperately needed in the way that you needed. A very cool, dawning thought settles in. The conversation was to forestall. His real purpose was conversation. Secondary purpose was to forestall action, to forestall movement, or force you into hyper movement that you wouldn't notice. Lorraine actually speaking up after you being warned by Synethia that she was relatively quiet. And even as there's a very cross-sticking sense of being played, you realize that was not the case. What was offered was in fact done to help you survive the situation. There's no situation if there is no one there. There's no situation if things are handled outside of your purview. It does remove your particularly direct agency, but as you stand here in the silence of the condominium, the truth of the matter settles in. If anyone were to understand the proper use of a weapon, there are not many outside of the Toreador that might. The Toreador and perhaps the Banu Hakim. But here you stand, a weapon in a sheath, ready to be deployed when called upon. The question is, are you still that same former weapon? Or are you something else?
Take a deep breath. Pull it out the light up. Knowing that my love don't get, but just a counter to it. Head back today. This is gonna be a fun.
The trek from Hyde Park to the Haven normally takes, if you're driving, just under 40 minutes, as long as you know to not hit Lakeshore Drive and you know not to take Ashland. You know to take the long way. Use Western down and around and dance down Ridge instead of the more publicly known ways of getting from one point to the next. Lakeshore Drive will have you hung up somewhere near Grand for at least 10-15 minutes, and God forbid the little interchange at Hollywood, things would get worse. But luckily, you know your way around. Taking Western down through the city, you get to see all of the very permutations of poverty that the city has to offer. You get an opportunity to see what gentrification and urbanization actually look like on the front lines. It's nothing new. It's the city. It's as it has always been. Ever changing, ever finding new ways to torment itself and its populace. You find yourself in front of the haven, and you see the dissipation in the wake of clear commotion. There are 10, 20 guys and girls out front of the shelter. That usually only happens when something big happens. Much like, a possessed demon coming to life and wreaking havoc, or, vampires coming in declaring themselves at a loss. The turmoil and drama of the last few weeks and few days. You expect to see a hairy werewolf come running out of the door any second, but how do you choose to enter the haven?
More entrance where no one sees. Go to the parking lot, drop the car off, head back in.
So you use the submerged entrances or the subterranean entrances, or you go through the shelter?
I gotta park my car.
Okay.
The subterranean entrance and then walk through.
Your hunger still being at 2, you are immediately, it spikes and nettles your stomach the moment you enter into the sub-basement entrance. There's blood on the air. There's pain in the wind, as it were. And your beast rears its head. Remember, you are still at 2 hunger. And the scent of blood is as enticing as walking into a freshly cooked meal.
I followed the scent because that is really uncommon. And I'm also going to slide my hand around my titanium knuckle just in case. It's something it shouldn't smell that much like blood.
It should not. And it normally would. But as you hit the ramp that leads up from the morgue, there is the cleanest, vagrant body you've seen in quite some time, with his head split completely open. There's nary a drop of blood on the ground. There is a wet smear, and the body, even through the light grime, looks grayed and wrung drier than it should be.
What the fuck is going on here? I stay out there for one night. Take the body down to the crematorium through the back way so that hopefully no one can see me.
As you enter into the morgue to cut across, carrying the body, Lucio and Aiden are standing looking on as Dizzy and Hestia hug out something. Her shoulders are rocking with sobs that haven't quite escaped her and scream or audibly. Dizzy has a quizzical look on her face, trying to offer support and comfort. Aiden and Lucio look as if they are watching the most horrific horror movie they've seen. And Clyde is in the corner, sucking his fingers and rocking from foot to foot, his eyes glazed over.
Do we see Simone enter?
Yeah, he's carrying the third body.
I don't know what happened. You guys can catch me up. Put the bite on the table.
Simone, what the fuck is going on?
Just got here. There was a skull on the side of the building. There was a dead body with his head eaten out on the side of the building. Big wet spot right next to our front door. What happened?
Oh no, I'm not talking about this. This I'm all caught up on. I'm talking about with your deal that went south and has apparently gotten my sister and friend arrested.
I'm not quite sure who your sister or your friend is, but as far as the deal, I'm gonna assume that when I kept mentioning that we really need to find why all these missing people, everyone kept ignoring me, so I kept kind of telling you guys we got to do this. No one wanted to, so I tried myself, and that failed. And then we ended up doing some of it, but then again, Norris didn't give me any actual intelligence to work from. They just said, go find this, and left it at that. So they kind of left me pretty much screwed.
I see. So you think it's our fault?
Well, no. I could have just left, but remember how when we were in the bottom of the Succubus Club, I said, hey, I need your help to do this, and you guys ended up bringing Genghis, and not quite getting there. We were working on it, but they decided to arbitrarily tell us time's up now. And so I threw a Hail Mary pass, which took us to the insane asylum. That is the haven of Jason Newberry, but it's curiously surrounded by survivors.
Come again? Did you say that they were Sabat at his haven?
Well, the town is a Sabat stronghold, and his haven is there, so you know.
That hypocritical motherfucker.
And, well, yeah, so that happened, and
Wait, so Newberry is Jewish too?
What?
Okay, who is this person? I'm sorry. Your name is Aiden, right? Can you please explain to me who you are and how you are related to someone among us here?
Okay, so the Jewish vampire kidnapped me and Dizzy, but my whammy does, so we didn't know what he looks like. And him and Clyde, who's Jewish too, right? With this Myers guy, I guess are behind all of this.
Let me translate for you, Lucio. It seems like Jason Newberry has been actually kidnapping people. They didn't tell me this. This is kind of the person who I was supposed to kill. But no one told me to do this yet. You know, no one told me who it was I was supposed to kill. Jason Newberry seems to be savage. Maybe. His haven is surrounded by savage. Not saying he is or isn't. But he's kidnapping people, turning them into kindred inside his haven, which is the insane asylum, which is inside a savage stronghold. He has been doing this for some time, but this is why the One-Eyed King told me I had to kill somebody really violently, but wouldn't tell me who. Then the Norris told me I had to kill this person who was kidnapped. Again, Jason Newberry. No one told me.
I know who Norris is. He's a bad motherfucker. Now that dude you want to stay away from. But is he Jewish or is he a priest?
neither. Anywho, so I guess I'm supposed to kill Jason Newberry to clean this all up. However, we kind of got bigger problems.
A bigger problem than our haven actively being attacked from 2 different organizations.
Yeah, it seems that I actually have, being with my back against the wall, trying to save everyone, or at least keep some of us alive long enough. I had to trade a favor down the road.
Hey, where's Alex?
I don't know. I'm getting to that. I think somehow I had to trade a favor to Modius, and after I traded that favor to Modius, everyone in the room that I was with disappeared. Alex being one of them, which is somebody you may not have met.
No, I know Alex. He saved me. But he left with you.
I'm sorry, the audio kind of got a little fuzzy for me at the end there. Can you clarify what happened?
Well, I had to trade a favor with Modius. I don't know what that favor is going to take hold, what type of favor it's going to be, but sometime at some point that's trade favor. And he emptied the room full of a whole bunch of kindred that got fired by a person who almost killed most of the people in this actual haven, but ended up becoming my chowder, and then they all disappeared. Including Alex.
She started crying. She burst into hysterical laughter, like deranged hysterical laughter. Her face comes up off of Dizzy's shoulder, and her eyes focus on Simone. See now, you seem to be putting the blame on everybody else but you. But what you just said, correct me if I'm wrong, Lucio, is that a woman you sired by accident led you to losing Alex and making a deal with somebody that's supposed to be dead and asked you a favor that you don't know what the favor is going to be, trying to save our lives when you've already fucked everything else up.
Oh, no. I didn't break her neck when she hit my blood because she was biting my arm. I'm not saying that. That's totally my fault. Also, I brought her here, which is totally my fault. But I'm just letting you guys have an objective understanding of what just happened.
See, I kind of understand what
you're talking about.
I do want to at least clarify one thing. You do seem to be placing quite a fair bit of blame on us, but I have also been dealing with some shit that is, quite frankly, very dangerous for a haven. You know, there was that whole Castiglione and Tor crime outfit who is trying to move us off our haven. Yeah, by the way, I don't think you were here for this. The bill's coming due for them pretty soon. Putanesco really want this place, and basically from what I understand is going to happen is, as soon as the shit with the police dies down, i.e. the shit that is going on with your deal, then right afterwards, that's when they're going to start messing with us. In other words, as soon as we deal with your problem, we're going to have to deal with my problem.
Have you all ever thought about going on Springer?
How how about this? Why don't we fix your problem while they keep having the police here so that they can't move? We fix your problem, then we fix my problem.
See, I was thinking a slightly different tactic, which was deal with your problem first, because that seems to be the one that is actively screwing us over. And then we can deal with my problem by meeting with Ignacio, which we agreed to, but we're going to have to move that meeting up much sooner. Because I don't know how much longer he can keep the Putanesca off our asses.
Okay, but you realize to deal with my problem, we have to kill Jason Newberry.
Oh, so I was right when I guessed that it was him. Yeah, so you know my feelings about that asshole, that hypocritical fuck. I am more than happy to help you kill him.
Okay. I have no problem with that.
My only
Leaving
concern...
something out. I can tell you're leaving something out. Because Norris said that he had given you instructions of some sort, and he was surprised that I did not know them. What were the exact instructions Norris gave you? Exactly.
He wanted me to kill them violently so that they can blame the Lupine so that they can initiate a war with the Lupine.
Which is entirely different than walking in and just killing people. Which is
No,
what
I had every intent on destroying them. What do you mean? I had every intent on destroying them. They just never told me who I was supposed to destroy. Why do you think when you came and saw me in the head nurse's office, the room was covered in blood?
Because that's just par for the course for us right now. How was I supposed to know that was anything specific other than par for the freaking course? We had already almost been pulled over by the police.
That was my
Had to
fault.
escape. So, how do I know what all was part of the night? All I know is that me and Dizzy were running from the vengeance demons in the freaking basement.
I still never saw those, by the way.
As worked up as you are, Hesher, go ahead and roll wits and occult for me, please.
I'm sorry, who's rolling what?
Hesher's rolling wits and occults. Everyone who's actually close enough to actually see Hesher's eyes take a small step back. It's literally like lightning struck. There's a reason why anyone who has any understanding of the supernatural world would want to be in possession of a ley line nexus of any significant strength. God forbid a veritable ley line furnace such as the Coterie's Haven. There is an extremely powerful solar flare that will happen in a few short months. However, the only people that would benefit from such places are those who have tapped into such places, and the easiest way to tap into such places is through ownership. While solar flares normally doesn't mean much to vampires except for staying out of sight, a solar flare of this magnitude, which will run through Venus and Sagittarius, will cause an equivalent exchange, meaning that anyone in possession of such places and able to act on them can reach not only and see into the next world, they can open up doorways and use whatever energy comes through to their own particular ends, including being able to master and control, at least temporarily, any captured lupines. That would be the only reason why someone would be putting on the gas to take over a place that is at a center of power.
Would I know, or would that have given me a clue as to
the reason for speed? That would give you a clue as to the speed and the reason. It is clear that the Puttanesca or whoever is running them is interested in either capturing or controlling the lupines of the area. And what better weapon to use against other vampires?
Oh crap. Well then, of course, I let that tumble free in my mouth. Wait. I think I figured it out. The reason they want it so bad, they want this place so bad, is because it was already drawing the lupine to it for other reasons, but if they can capture the lupine here, when the solar flare happens in a couple months, they can control them somehow and use them as weapons in the war against the kindred that might already be in the city. That's why they want this place so bad. We have to keep it away from them.
That's bad. That's real bad. Does that mean that where we found the other lupine has some form of power like that? Because that would be really bad too.
No, lupines are... they're drawn to places of power. That's how the other one fell into the tunnels that kept it looping in time, is because they're drawn to places of power. And the only reason they haven't attacked this place is because of the treaties that are in place, because this is firmly in Chicago. But if there is a war between the wolves and the kindred of the city, then that makes all treaties null and void, and they can freely attack this place. And if they are freely attacking this place, then that means anybody that wants to control them can be ready for them and capture them, which is why they're trying to get us out of here, so they can lay that trap for the lupines that might come here looking for the power that it holds, and then use it to control them when the solar flare happens.
Okay, so I don't understand how that works, but how do we keep that place away from everybody?
I mean, we could just take a scorched earth policy to this place, but I don't know if that's going to get rid of the Nexus.
No, the Nexus was here before this place was built. I don't know why they built this place, but the Nexus was here first. And it's been being fed by what this place used to be, which was a hospital and some other things, I'm thinking. Because I found some weird things when I was looking through here before, but it was a Nexus always. Or something started it way long time ago, before Chicago was even a thing. And now this place has had so many changes and so many deaths and so much heartache and blood spilled. It's just grown over time, and now we need to protect it. And I think I know how. I'm gonna hate this with every ounce of my being. But I have to go home.
Meaning?
Juicible has been courting me as a part of the Chantry House for a very long time. He wants me back because my sire was a person of power in the Chantry House, and she gave me some of what she had, and I have a potential for more, I think. I've been having visions and having these feelings, and I don't know how to tap into them yet, but maybe they can help me. But I think if I was to go home to the Chantry house and at least promise to rejoin the Tremere, they would offer me help. And if I, in doing so, told them that I would make this place, the Haven, part of the Chantry house by satellite or default, that they would have some small bit of access to the power that it holds, and that with permission they could come and go as long as they offer it as their protection. I think we would have extra help with both magic users and people that would understand the Nexus more, and people that might be better able to protect it than just me alone, because I'm just me. I'm just one person. I can't protect this place from everything. I can't protect it from both supernatural problems and both physical problems, because I can only do one thing at a time.
So, I understand what you're saying, but think about it for a moment. We are essentially, if we go through with this plan, we're essentially giving the Haven to the Tremere then, who are also magic users who will want to use this place. Now, I will admit they will probably use it more responsibly than the Puttanesca, which is, that's a pretty low bar to cross. But I suppose it is the lesser of two evils. And yeah, actually, this might be a good idea. There is just one thing that I'm not clear on, which is where the Sabbat fits into all of this. Because I feel like I don't know if they are associated or in line with the Puttanesca, but they are definitely active in the city, and I'm worried that we might end up playing into their hands as well. I don't know how. I don't know what their plans are. They're still a mystery to me.
Did you raise your hand as you're speaking?
Yes.
So, I don't know you people, and I'm not really sure what's going on, but I may have an idea.
Go on.
So, hear me out before you make any judgments. So, up until a couple days ago, I was part of this group. We weren't really affiliated with anybody. We just kind of traveled around in between cities, did our own thing, learned some food now and then, had a good time, lived free, like the whole Jack Kerouac American dream. We did a lot of carrying things from place to place for people for money or favors or free passage. And we were supposed to bring something to that place where the asylum is. What's it called? Winnetka?
That would be the one, yes.
For some sort of archbishop or cardinal or some honorific. I don't know. I don't really keep up on those things, but not sure what was in it. And because I can't remember what happened that night, I'm not sure what became of it. But I know my gang, and there's a good chance it's hidden somewhere in the area. And whatever it was kind of just, I don't know, it kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit, like there was something unnatural about it.
Coterie, what now?
We were carrying a package for somebody. This seems like it's awful convenient to your situation for it to not be somehow related.
But you don't know who it was for or what the package was?
You know, I didn't look in the package. I wasn't in charge. I didn't really do a lot of the carrying or brokering or any of that stuff, but I just know that we were supposed to give it to somebody high up, and that it kind of had an aura of, sort of power about it.
Okay.
Do you think we could get that package? Do you think you could lead us back to it?
I mean, that's the thing. I don't remember anything from that night, so I don't know whether it was handed off. I don't know. It's highly likely, knowing us, that we would have attended to the pleasure before the business if that was the way we could go. So it might be hidden somewhere where all this shit went down, or somewhere nearby. I don't know. I was really foggy. Unless you got somebody that can restore my memory.
Unfortunately, I can only do the opposite.
But I have a way to do that through tasting the blood.
Tasting the blood? Tasting the blood? No, that would tell you where Dizzy comes from, which is a story in and of itself, based on her sire. But it wouldn't be able to restore memories. You would need someone with a more refined ability with dominate and the like. It's a very delicate and difficult thing. Someone like Newberry most assuredly could.
What about share the senses?
You'd be able to see through her eyes.
So, barring that, I'm not making any promises, but I know Zeke. I've known him for a long time. I mean, there's only... If I saw the area, I'd get an idea of maybe where he might have stashed it. Maybe.
Okay, but I don't know where it is and what's going. But I'm game. You have an idea. I am game. Right around until we find it.
And to be fair, I don't know that it's related. I'm just saying that it's awful convenient.
Yeah, there's a lot of awful convenience, so let's go on the offense instead of the defense and try to find this place. Can you describe it?
I mean, the last thing I remember was what you guys keep referring to as, what was it, the disco? Dalton? Something like that?
Okay, we can go there. Alright, who's up to a driving? I can't, because I need a new, identity. I blew my last one.
Thinking for a minute as they're sourcing that out, I kind of stick myself back in with what it sounds like what was in the package to me. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong. It's a lodestone. Lodestone would interrupt almost any ritual or wards placed in a space, which means it's like a key? Which makes sense. It depends on who they were giving it to. Because if they were giving it to somebody, it could be used either against us or against somebody else. But it's probably something we should get our hands on if we can.
Well, I mean, this is what I remember, and I wasn't paying attention, and I wish I was now, but I think it was... shit.
we have all these supernatural powers, but we actually don't have a way to just remember something. No, like, disciplines that let us have flashbacks or memoriams or something. Whatever you would call it.
We would have to trigger a memoriam with a similar memory or a concurrent memory.
Wait, hold on. That's actually a thing. I was just spitballing.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's a little hard. I don't know if I have enough finesse. I mean, I could try it, but I don't know how blotchy things would turn out. I do have some ability, but we definitely need somebody with a little bit more compel or dominate than I have. I have a little dominate. But Dizzy's pretty good with hers as well.
So what I'm thinking was it was the Archbishop of Indianapolis wanted us to bring this to the Cardinal of Winnetka. But we never made it to Winnetka. I mean, you found me in Winnetka, right?
Yeah, but
No.
we really need to get it out of Winnetka in a hurry.
Well, I'm not sure it isn't Winnetka unless they found it.
Archbishop, Cardinal? That sounds like a church. I thought they were Jewish.
They're like
Okay.
really bad vampires.
Full disclosure for everybody in the room, but we gotta keep this very quiet. The Cardinal and the Bishop are the ruling body of the Sabbat in that area.
Oh, so
You were
it's
saying
definitely...
before that you didn't understand where the werewolves came into this. Before you were changed, matter of fact, when I was first newly made, or a little before I was newly made, something happened with the current Prince of Chicago, in which werewolves were used as a weapon of sorts. There was a war, which is where the treaties came from, and Sabbat used the werewolves as kind of a smokescreen to make their move and almost completely burned Chicago to the ground. So that would be their connection. They're probably working together again. What worked last time might work again for them.
Only now they have a international criminal organization to also help them make things easier.
Yeah, why not? Why not? So should we get dressed and go digging for that stone?
I don't have any clean clothes. I'm wearing all that I have, thanks to you guys. So you guys are saying like there's a Harry Potter gang fight getting ready to happen, and it's the Catholic vampires versus the Jewish vampires, and they're going to take over this place where a bunch of homeless live using a magic rock.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have a firm grasp of the situation, Aiden, my man.
He might be the most sane person among us.
If I'm supposedly the most sane, we're all screwed up. But I do have one question that you guys didn't really answer.
Was it about the chips?
That makes two questions. But just ear hustling because I don't have a place to go. You said you were bringing a stone or rock or magic something, the sorcerer's stone, to Winnetka for somebody from Indianapolis.
Yeah.
They said last night that the people that screwed up the disco were from Indiana.
And you said that you thought they were werewolves, right?
Yes, I forgot to mention the werewolves. You guys did mention werewolves.
So if I remember that whole blood disco incident correctly, it started with people from Indianapolis coming in and shooting up the place. It ended when a werewolf came out of nowhere and started trying to kill us all, or at least finish off whatever the people from Indianapolis didn't get.
You know, I'm pretty sure that I remember when we were leaving Indianapolis seeing some giant, monstrous, furry, hair, claw, teeth thing tearing through a field. I don't know if it was chasing us or what, but, yeah.
Well, actually, I hate to interject there. Yes, Indianapolis was part of all this, but do you remember Genghis? The reason we clubbed Genghis and dragged him with us in the first place is because he was part of that whole little party that started bombing and shooting up the club. And the reason he said that he did that, do you remember? Because I wasn't there when you guys were questioning him.
Yeah, it was because they thought it was a turf war and they wanted to strike back hard or something. There was a turf war of some type.
Lots of things have been revealed to the Coterie. Lots of truths, lots of missing pieces put together or laid out on the table. And while all of this information is floating in the ether, now that Heshia's mind has started running towards the supernatural and trying to put together the very real puzzle of who and why. You guys have a number of sources. You actually have 3 that you guys have spelled out that stand against you. You're pointing out the Sabbat, you're pointing out the potential lupines, and you're pointing out the Puttanesca, who all may want this place, who have been kept from this place. You mentioned also, not as a complete enemy, but someone you're running a task for, and will act as an enemy until it's done, the Shadow Kings. That's a lot of powerful organizations working in concert against each other to achieve the same goals. What stands out now, more so than anything else, is that while home may be where you hang your hat, if this place is lost, there is no one within the city limits who will make it out unscathed until one or more of those powers takes full control. And we'll pause here for a quick 10. It is 38 after the hour. We'll meet back here at 48 after the hour. See you guys in a bit. And just like a couple of spines, we're back. Anybody else here?
Yep, I'm here.
I'm here.
I have returned.
Okay, back, sorry.
Are we waiting for anyone else?
I'm thinking Dizzy and...
No, I'm here.
Okay. Clyde, maybe?
I think Clyde fell completely out, so I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, Clyde's been gone a good while.
That's fair. What you were just about to tell us about. Well, why don't we head out to where that place is and begin searching? See if maybe we can find it.
I can probably save us some search if I can hold the memory up, and I realize how I can do it. It's just going to take a volunteer outside of me and Dizzy. I need blood.
Everybody back?
Yep.
Yes.
Aha, that was the secret. My volume was extraordinarily low. Sorry about that, guys.
Hestia, when you say you need blood, do you need specific blood, or are you just saying you need it because you're going to get hungry?
It's more of a kind of catalyst to what I need to do, I guess.
So, like, vitae or blood?
Probably vitae would be a little stronger in this case. I mean, otherwise I just use thin blood, but I need powerful enough blood, and I'd use my blood, but I can't because I'm the one driving this whole situation. And by weakening myself, supplying the blood would be bad. So I need 100% of my blood, 100% of your blood, Dizzy. You just need some extra blood.
I'm not sure I'm cool with giving you 100% of my blood. Like 99% might be alright, but
No, I meant stay inside you. We don't need it out of you. We need it inside.
oh, okay, that's different. That's totally different then.
I'm pretty hungry, but you can use mine. However, I'm gonna need to feed.
You know what? How about you use mine, because I'm actually feeling okay, and I do have a little thermos full of blood with me. It's just the one, but
plus we
it'll at
also
least
have
help.
extra. I'm pointing to the little containers of blood. I harvested that tonight.
Oh, God.
The look of revulsion that comes on Simo's face is actually something you've never actually seen before.
Beggars can't be choosers. Besides, we know how much trouble you get in feeding from people.
You can take the blood now, figure something out. He reaches out and turns his head a little bit away from the buckets of blood.
I very carefully, using the tip of my blade, drip some of Simone's blood into a bowl, and then I put some water in the bowl so that the blood floats to the top and begin to swirl it. Okay, Dizzy, put your hands on either side of the bowl and stare into it.
All right. This isn't going to summon Slender Man or anything, is it?
No.
Slenderman is upstairs on the north wing, I believe.
That's not funny.
All right. Dizzy puts her hands where instructed.
And then I'm gonna focus myself through Dizzy by putting my hands on her shoulder. And slowly will, I guess, the blood together to form a picture that she can fall into, I guess, mentally. Let me roll that.
All right. So while mounting your ritual, Hestia, go ahead and roll intelligence, occult plus blood sorcery, and your target normally is 7, but with the 3 blood from Simone, that means you need a success of 4. What are you rousing for?
You told me if I needed 3 rouse checks.
No. You need 3 successes. You roll your...
Oh. You said 3 rouse checks. Pretty sure that's what you said.
No, the 3 rouse checks worth of blood from Simone lowered the difficulty to a total of 4 for a complete success.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you said you'd need 3 rouse, so I thought I was rolling them. Okay, I'm good then. Ignore them. Okay, I'm rolling what instead? Intelligence?
Occult and blood sorcery.
Okay.
And as you channel through Dizzy, in most movies and TV shows and some non-visual fiction, when magic is raised, there's this buffeting wind and some audible effect that follows the magic. There's no such thing in this moment. You all are privy to the hairs on the back of your necks raising and a sense of falling. But if anyone were to watch what was happening in the morgue, nothing more than you all standing where you were, Simone looking toward the disgusting collected blood and taking a step in that direction as his beast drives his feet, and then everyone drops. The bowl between Dizzy and Hestia's hand hits the floor, splattering. Unfortunately, with such a huge number of mystical successes, you are not just able to view and summon up Dizzy's memory. Simone, your name is Zeke. Lucio, your name is Austin. Hestia, your name is Drea. Dizzy, your name is Emily Dizzick. You all have dropped off the package that you all received down in Ohio to the Archbishop. It took you all 2 nights to scope the place out, make sure that the rules, hospitality, and comedy would actually be accepted and be honored. I wanted to make sure, first and foremost, that they would be honored and you all be able to leave whenever you chose, namely, as soon as things got even remotely hairy. Gas snaps his fingers, drawing your attention back to the fact that the steps before you will not climb themselves. There's no ramp for you all to take an electric scooter up. Can we get this over with? And as the Capitol building rises before you, the sheer audacity of the leader of the kindred in the city, housing his Elysium in the Capitol building, is enough to make you all sit up and take real notice of the potential danger ahead of you. And after all, you're still 4.5 days from the party that Zeke has told you all about, that you heard from your friend of a friend amongst the Anarchs, where there would be the wildest, freest, flowingest blood you have seen. And nothing like an all-you-can-eat buffet before diving into the heart of the Camarilla. Last time you guys were through Chicago, the snowstorm nearly kept you all there for 2 weeks longer than expected, so having your fill at the outset, there couldn't be anything better. And as you all walk up the steps to settle matters, this is where we'll end. And I'll see you guys next week.
Perfect.
The plot thickens.
I'm sorry.
Well, again, with all due seriousness, thank you all so very much for playing along. And today's episode was great because you all got a chance to share information and put everybody on a similar page, if not the exact same one, with the goals and inspirations that are floating in the ether around the Coterie and throughout the city. Just as a matter of bookkeeping for you all, we're going to do something a little different. We've done it before. I'm going to do it again. And instead of waiting for experience, you guys can take this and mull this over for where you all are going to put them later on your character sheets. Instead of doing experience points, we are going to do dots that you can assign at your leisure. I'll get those out to you guys in the next couple of minutes. Outside of that, again, thanks, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
Yes, very much so. Thanks, Lucio.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.
Night night. Thanks, everybody.